October 21st meeting for Park District back to order. Do we have?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call again.
Craig McSimiak. Here. Joe Blosek. Here. Frank Florentine. Here. Dennis Moore.
Here.
Brian Mulhern. Here. And Dave Masick.
And Ken Blackburn. Here.
And Ken Blackburn. Sorry.
Public input, there's nobody here. Correspondence?
No correspondence.
Presentation of minutes from the September 16th board meeting?
Need a motion.
I need a motion and a second. Hello?
I wasn't here.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Craig McSimiak. Abstain. Joe Blosek.
Yes.
Frank Florentine.
Abstain.
Dennis Moore.
Yes.
Brian Mulhern. Yes. And Dave Masick.
And Ken Blackburn.
And
Yes.
Ken Blackburn. We're gonna go through this all night, don't we? Let me fix that one though. We had 2 abstentions. Yes. Frank. And, right. And all else were positive except for, Dave, who was not here. Good.
Okay, legal report?
Consideration of resolution 2110-32, truth in taxation, law resolution, which we had discussed at the previous meeting, but if anyone had any questions or concerns. We explained the 145% and why we were doing that. We have a huge amount of potential growth as well as inflation and other things. So we're just taking into account all the variables so we don't leave anything on the table, as we always try to do.
Do we ever
I don't want it, on your link here, which I just noticed that now, your link listed as -29. It is 32.
Let me correct that. I got it here, so let me make sure I got it. It's 29. 20-11-29, truth in taxation law resolution. I had a smudge.
Do we ever find out how much the Amazon property is gonna be worth to us?
We think the estimate is $60 million for the building, which would be approximately 10% of our overall EAV at $600 million.
Okay.
And I'll talk about it later, but that whole area is set. If you've gone out on Benton Drive, you'll see a sign on the other side of the street that indicates they're going to do a lot more of these tip-up type warehouses, and that's support structure for Amazon in Tinley Park. So whereas in Madison they were talking about doing a TIF that would be a 23-year TIF, Tinley's are more structured around getting enough to put the infrastructure in, and then in 4 or 5 years they're full boat. I haven't seen the paper on it, but that's what Mr. Carr, who visited us with us last spring, who's now the village manager, who some of you may know, is a great asset to the community. So, like I said, that's going to be phenomenally beneficial to the district in the long run. I think we could be looking at 30 or 35% increase in tax revenue over the next 5 to 10 years, just from that retail or development alone. So, but with that being said, I would need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-10-29.
No,
Second.
20, sorry, it is, yeah, sorry, it's 20-11-29.
Right. And did Dennis second?
Yes. Roll call, please.
Craig McSimiak,
Yes.
Joe Blosek,
yes.
Frank Florentine,
Yes.
Dennis Moore,
Yes.
Brian Mulhern,
Yes.
Ken Blackburn? Yes.
Ken Blackburn, sorry about that. I don't want to call you first, and you're listed first, so I'm giving you the respect you so richly deserve.
Yeah, right.
Secondly, consideration of COVID-19 vaccination and testing policy as presented. I need a motion and a second on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the COVID-19 vaccination policy and testing policy.
Frank seconded. Any discussion on that? I think the big
Jim, it's Bennett.
benefit. Go ahead.
I just have one question on, I read through it pretty closely, but if things change, either vaccine requirements are removed or booster requirements are mandated, is the policy flexible enough to accommodate that?
Yeah, and as we would get more information from Derma, our risk management, we would adapt the policy to reflect the most current. They could eliminate it in the future and no longer make it a requirement, or they could expand the vaccination requirements. There could be a multitude of different options available, and we're prepared to bring it back on a monthly basis and amend it to keep it as current as we can. We also divided it to be the most flexible too, so that and leave it up to our risk management to determine any exclusions or exceptions too, so staff aren't making that determination. Anything else? And I will note that Dave had dropped me an email, and he would object to this policy. He's not in favor of the vaccination and testing policy as presented. And I'm just sharing that with you. All good?
Yep.
Okay,
Got a roll call.
oh, I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Ken Blackburn,
Yes.
Craig McSimiak,
Yes.
Joe Vlosek,
Yes.
Frank Florentine,
Yes.
Dennis Moore,
Yes.
Brian Mulhern.
Yes.
Treasurer's report.
Oh, I got one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I need a consideration and update of district's main checking account to a MaxSafe account to provide up to $3.5 million in FDIC insurance coverage. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion to approve the checking account to the master next week.
Any discussion? That's just to make sure we've got FDIC insurance. It very rarely happens, but it can happen, so we wanted to make sure we were covered.
Roll call, please.
Ken Blackburn?
Yes.
Craig McSimiak?
Yes.
Joe Vlosek?
Yes.
Frank Florentine?
Yes.
Dennis Moore?
Yes.
Brian Mulhern?
Yes.
Okay, now we'll do the treasurer's report. Does anybody have any questions about the treasurer's report? Then we'll accept that pending audit. Accounts payable, need a motion and a second.
Motion to accept the accounts payable. Second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Roll call, please.
Ken Blackburn?
Yes.
Craig McSimiak?
Yes.
Joe Vlosek?
Yes.
Frank Florentine?
Yes.
Dennis Moore?
Yes.
Brian Mulhern?
Yes.
Executive Director's report.
I'd ask for approval for the consideration of a proven IT quote for 10 Verkada surveillance cameras at a cost not to exceed $17,803. That would include the purchase of the equipment and a 3-year lease payment on that, and then it would move after that. The idea is to use our liability insurance fund, which is an acceptable expenditure, and we have the funding available within that resource to start with 10 and eventually replace all the existing cameras with the new updated.
Does that include installation?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, these are so simple, we can install them ourselves. Ed installed all the cameras in the buildings already. There'll be some wiring at the golf course because they're still running coaxial cable, so we'll have to go to CAD 6, but either we'll do it or one of the electricians will do it. So we should be good.
One of these cameras is used when we had the property damage at the golf course.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Well, the only thing there was at the gate, because of, we only had one camera in,
Yeah.
we could see the back of the car, not the front of the car running into the gate. But it's better than nothing.
What about the license plate?
Yeah, we had the license plate on the car when it pulled up, and then it was parked in the lot, and of course, no other cars were in the lot. And so the neighbors saw it. We had all the information, but we'll get to that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. So I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the surveillance cameras.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Ken Blackburn,
Yes.
Craig McSimiak,
Yes.
Joe Glosick,
Yes.
Frank Florentine,
Yes.
Dennis Moore,
Yes.
Brian Mulhern.
Yes.
Final request, consideration of an Alta equipment lease agreement for a Kubota mini excavator at a cost not to exceed $120,940 over a 5-year term with an annual payment of $25,750. Effective date would be October 25th, 2025. And that unit is parked in our garage right now. If you want to take a look at it through the meeting, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
We've already used it on, when we had the water main break up front, we dug it out ourselves when they ripped out the ball diamond at both Hilda Walker and at Champions Park. That piece of equipment was used, and guys like it tremendously well. We will have some more attachments coming in for it, but for right now, you'll see it's a pretty impressive piece of equipment.
It's easy for the guys to operate,
It's very user-friendly, and we have a couple of guys that are already really good at it. We've had a mini excavator for the last 10 years, but it's tiny. It's literally could fit through the gate of a backyard fence, which we've used the crud out of, but it's the same controls, it's just bigger. It's got a thumb on it so you can pick things up, and it'll have a brush head on it. And eventually, we're putting an articulated arm on the end so that you'll be able to rotate the bucket like almost 360 degrees like a grade all, so that you'll be able to grade and slope and do other things that we're using with our existing grade all too. So it's a long-term tool, it's not a short-term tool.
Is that 5-year lease and then?
Dollar buyout. So we'd own it after the.
Okay.
Well, no, it's a lease. We could give it back.
For $1.
And we meet all the requirements for a
Yeah.
lease. And you can walk away from it early in the lease too. So there's options for that too.
Can we set up a board member competition to see who's the most competent at using it?
That's not a responsible board member.
We'd have to use the ones in the playground first, the little. Someday when it's light out, maybe in the summer. Maybe for the July meeting next year at the golf course, we'll bring it over and have Bill show you guys how to run it. But there's actually parks that are designed with this equipment where you can actually go and it's like a playground of equipment. They have them down in Tennessee and Kentucky and stuff.
They got the 150 apprentice hall they have a picnic and they do have competitions like he's talking about. They put their wives in the machine and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, there you go. So I have I would need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to accept the lease agreement for the excavator.
Second.
Roll call.
Ken Blackburn,
Yes.
Craig McSimiak,
Yes.
Joe Glosick,
Yes.
Frank Florentine,
Yes.
Dennis Moore,
Dennis?
Yes.
Brian Mulhern.
Yes.
Just for updates, we're completing a process of departmental overviews, and the direction is for all departments to develop a bullet list of calendar items and reoccurring events, and highlighting things that, take place so that we can more systematically approach our operation. And that will be a one-year project for all departments to kind of complete that process that kind of started this month. And so you'll get more information on that. You're getting monthly updates now of each department. And I think the thing we found with COVID is that the better information we put out, the better prepared board members are, and the more staff are cognizant of doing good, not doing good works, but making people aware of what they're actually doing. So we're going to continue to do that. So my report itself may be abridged a little bit because I don't want to repeat what's already been done in the departments and just kind of giving highlights. I'll highlight that the 32-year-old RPZ that was our fire suppression system broke, and we found out that the water repair that was done last winter, they put the bolts on upside down so that when they went to shut off the water main, instead of being able to shut it off, it actually backed the bolts out and opened up the main. So that's what the big problem was. But they got it shut off on the road, and then they dug it up and corrected the problem all in-house. But we're going back on the contractor, as, you know, we ended up, you know, doing irrigation repairs at the front of the building last year because of the damage, and then did heavy landscaping improvements there too that all had to be destroyed when we had to dig that up. So I think there should be some accountability there. We'll let you know. There's a proposal that's in the tentative form for the Hunter Prairie property next to Farmbrook Terrace for 160 condos that will be rental units, with one entrance off of St. Francis Road. This is very tentative. There's been some staking done. There's been some stuff to go to the township and the highway commissioner. The fire department will not be thrilled with this because of the one entrance situation, but I wanted to make the board that there is some discussion out there related to it. But we haven't been contacted about it yet. This is all just secondhand news.
It's basically the land where we were talking about the farm, right?
Right. And then there's a proposal for a gas station at that corner too. At the corner on the, that would be the southwest corner of.
What's going in there?
Thornton,
Oh,
I think.
as I say, you got the gas and go or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's Speedway down there, so it's.
Well, then maybe Speedway wouldn't be robbed every day then. It would
Yeah,
maybe
every
Thornton would
Thursday.
share a little of the,
Yeah.
that Speedway on 30 gets hit constantly.
Yeah. But I'm just sharing information. We put a plan before the Summit Hill Board, to extend the path from Hilda Walker through, behind the football practice field and join in at, Kiwanis, and so we could kind of complete that loop, and they approved that last night. That's a work in progress. We dig it out and then stone it. A year later, we pave it. But it was nice to see the superintendent brought that to before the board. It was a pretty clean process. So we met with. Yeah, and so we've been monthly meeting with the new superintendent McDermott, and it's been a real positive experience so far. And I did say that Dave Niemeyer from Village of Tinley Park retired, and Pat Carr, who's a resident of Brookside Glen.
Good, no Pat.
And he actually came and visited.
Pat's a great guy.
He is, and he came and visited, really good discussion, and wanted to keep lines of communication.
He's been with the village a long time.
Yeah.
He was their safety director. Everybody knows him.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. We got along with Dave Niemeyer too, but it's nice to have someone in the community. In terms of the golf course incident, the attorney for the driver in question contacted the Park District the day after the event, and we directed him to Paderma Council. So their attorney our attorney through our risk management agency is communicating with him. We've had conversations with the sheriff's department, and there's an investigation ongoing, but I've got no updated information on that. I mean, I don't know.
How much damage was there in the gate?
$15,000.
Jeez. That's an expensive night out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Gloria's 9 holes of golf, huh?
yeah.
How much that would cost you?
fixed in advance, or are we waiting for?
No, we can get it fixed now, and Paderma covers it. So Paderma, our risk management, will go fix the and then they'll recoup any loss from the patron. So we don't have literally any exposure other than filing a claim. And then the oil spill at Woodlawn, I think we put out notices on that. That's been rectified, and we tried to handle that as professionally as possible. And there should be no long-term impact from that. The only other thing is I noted that the aerifier has been installed at Community Pond, and that should help with limiting algae growth and making it a healthier waterway. But the one thing is that compressor runs year-round, and so you'll see new signs go up there indicating that there be thin ice on Community Pond because of perpetually pumping oxygen into it and keeping it'll still freeze over, I believe. I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming it'll freeze over, but it may create thin areas directly underneath that compressed air. And it's a process we hope to develop better next year so that we limit algae growth. And like I said before, my goal there would be to do a trout stocking in that pond to get it healthy enough to buy trout, put them into the pond, promote the trout stamp, state trout stamp, and some really attractive fishing in the community. I think it'd be a real good sell.
And that's not a fountain, it's a true aerator.
It's an aerator. And so the fountain will come back, which helps to a certain extent, but it's like 4 to 1.
Yeah.
If you see a fountain, it's aesthetic. If you see an aerator, it's bubbles, but it dramatically improves water quality. And we got an upgraded, there's 2 aerators in it, and both of them are upgraded over what would normally be expected because that's all they could deliver at no additional cost. So that was kind of fun to find out too.
Didn't we ask the question about office help? Did you fulfill the office help?
Maybe. We've got a second interview on Monday and a new person coming in on Monday, but we're looking for people continually. So if anyone knows of anyone for anything, send them in, because that's our biggest dilemma, is trying to get people to work. I mean, it's just the way it is right now.
Are you looking for full-time people or part-time?
Part-time. It's all 32 hours a week, but they have to be, they're customer service, but they need a strong computer aptitude because they do a lot with RecTrack and other things too. So it's hard to say, to find the right person. I think that was about it for my reporting. As is normally the case, I'm going to be out of town, and Audrey and the crew will be in at the November meeting to give departmental reports. All in all, things have been going really well with all the different changes and aspects we've got going on. Programming's starting to pick up. Erin's back from her honeymoon in Iceland, so John Keenan is dramatically relieved. He's no longer overseeing dance and bass to the extent he was before. But, it was a good awareness level lifting. You depend on people, and then, you realize how important they are when they're not here, and you have to physically do everything, which he's completely capable of doing. But, that's good. That turned out pretty well. Other than that, I think I'm good.
Okay. Old business?
Got none.
Dennis? I'll take that as no.
No, I was just going to say thanks for coordinating that presentation before this meeting. It was very informative and helpful.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy.
Any new business? Commissioners' comments? Brian?
Nothing.
Frank?
Nothing.
No? Joe? Dennis?
Said my piece already. Thanks.
Okay. Do we need an executive session?
No.
Like a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
off at your house. Drop it off at your door.
Oh, we got all